This is The Wicked Jester. Horror Stories. This story takes place in Northeast Washington State. There is a very creepy mine hidden tucked away deep in the northeastern part of Washington State, in the Colville National Forest, close to the Idaho border. I stumbled across it while rock hounding one day. It was a culvert you had to crawl through to get to the entrance in the side of a mountain. People must be little to get in and out of this place, the opening only being 3 foot wide by 3 foot tall. Then as you got through the culvert, you could see the mine. The mine was barred off, welded across by iron bars, 3 inches thick, about every 8 inches or so. Behind it you could see a sign that was made years ago, still legible, saying, "Danger, do not enter. Mine could collapse. Contain explosives yet not detonated. Extreme sudden drop-offs and low-level oxygen." As if that wasn't enough to freak you out, there was a smaller tunnel as I flashed my phone light down to see what I could see, a round bored-out rock that was drilled all the way through, with about 6 inches of standing water all over the floor of the mine. I seen what I could and made my way back down the mountain, through the forest to my parked car, approximately a half a mile down the uncharted path of brush, sticks, ponderosa pines, and rocks tripping you up constantly. I then got into my car and went home. A friend had called me pretty drunk asking me what I was up to. I said I was pretty bored on a Friday night. He was already in the driveway honking, yelling, "Let's go!" I grabbed a sweatshirt and I jumped right in. It was my close buddy Andrew and his girlfriend Ariel. I started drinking as they were both already pretty tuned up. We were cruising back roads, just drinking brews, Coors Lights. I was starting to feel pretty tipsy after 5 or 6 Coors Lights. I felt brave and said, "Hey guys, I know this mine hidden away is up in the mountains. Want to grab some flashlights and check it out?" They were all extremely excited all of a sudden, yelling, "Hell yeah." Little did I know that was one of the dumbest choices I have ever made, unknowing of the terror that lies ahead. It was about 2 a.m. when we set out towards the road where the mine was when we got there, and the road had been kelly humped to avoid any further vehicle travel. We got out, stumbling around, making our way over the kelly humps, and started up the old U.S. Forest Trail. It was pitch black, so we used our phone flashlights to see. We could only see approximately 5 foot in front of us, as it was so very dark. The trail was covered with foliage and brush, making it very difficult, but it was a manageable trek. Then, we heard it for the first time. It sounded like a crying child all alone in the woods, quite a ways off in the distance. We all looked at each other and we paused, just thinking it was our mind playing tricks on us because we were drunk. So we kept onward toward the mine that we had discovered during the daylight. It wasn't too far of a hike, maybe 30 minutes up the trail through steep, loose rock terrain. As we got closer, a second time, we heard the baby cries just briefly, and it was much closer. It was so freakishly scary coming from towards the mine. As we got closer to the mine, we heard a low growl, then seen a silhouette of a tall, skinny humanoid creature, and then it came into view. It had antlers, a sunken-in body, pale skin with patchy fur on the body, large hands with razor-sharp claws, and very long arms. White hollow eyes and a stench of death. It was bipedal, but its long skinny legs looked broken as they were bent the wrong way. It was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life, like something out of a horror movie. And then it spoke, saying the same thing I had just said moments ago to Andrew and Ariel, stating, "Come on guys, it's just a little further ahead." It sounded just like me without moving its mouth at all. That's what did it for me, and we all then knew that we'd been lured up closer to the cave by this thing, as if it knew we were coming. We all panicked and started to run back towards the car immediately, everyone for themselves as we were unarmed. With a loose rock and Ariel being the slowest, she tripped and fell, and Andrew and I heard a shriek and screaming and thrashing as whatever it was had now gotten Ariel. Andrew and I expected the worst as we had made it back to flat ground, still hearing what sounded like chewing and crunching and the most horrible, terrible sounds you could ever imagine. We both luckily made it out and got back to the car and immediately took off. I had to pretty much pull Andrew along as he did not want to leave his girlfriend Ariel behind. But we both knew she was gone. Frantic and still terrified, we decided to go back up there at first light. The next morning, we made our way back up to the trail where Ariel was last seen. But only to find blood everywhere, no pieces of Ariel's clothing, and no sign of any remains. We wondered, did it take her whole body or just consume it? What the hell was that thing? We reported it to police immediately after, and they sent a search and rescue team to cover the whole mountainside within a 10-mile radius. They searched hard for at least a good week and came back with nothing. No sign of anything. So they called the search off. A couple days later, we seen a few National Guard vehicles and black SUVs with a helicopter searching and scouring the whole area. That part of the forest quickly became a restricted area with no access to the public. Nobody knew anything as they were keeping everything pretty secretive. Andrew and I were brought in for questioning by two guys in black suits. They said, "So, your friend was mauled by a grizzly bear or a cougar, eh?" Andrew said, "No, it was something else. Something not of this world." The guy in the suit then said, "We don't need to scare the public, now saying some creature is loose in the national forest. So we need you both to sign a document stating that what you saw was just a normal forest animal and it had attacked. We have everything taken care of, so there's no need to worry anymore." Andrew wanted to argue, but these guys looked very serious and they meant business. So we just did as we were told, and we could risk imprisonment if we ever spoke of this again. The government knew what exactly was up there, and they either killed and disposed of it or captured it and moved it somewhere away from the public. They were acting very strange and secretive about everything. Still no body, no Ariel. She just vanished, no bones, clothing, or anything. So many people just vanish in the national forest and are unaccounted for. The government covers up the truth to not scare people away from camping or spending time in the forest because it's such a moneymaker. Nowadays, you have to buy a pass just to park in nearly any national forest access. We know what we saw that day, and many other people have seen and encountered similar creatures. Were they made to be quiet as well? What the hell is really going on in our national forest? This experience has made me second guess ever going camping again.